Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting.
We have to move fast today.
Today's feed is just a wild mix. We've got corporate disruption, some pretty intense biohacking data, and a lot of sports money.
We're here to get you caught up on the most important nuggets.
We're looking at what happens when entire roles disappear, rockets grow taller, and brain science goes completely viral.
So let's jump right in. The corporate structure piece is fascinating.
It really is. The startup playbook is just being torn up.
Yeah.
Let's start with this post from @PeterGiang. He says, Cursor scaled to 29 dealers without any full-time PMs.
29 billion
Yeah.
without PMs.
Yep. He continues, Rayo, Cursor's head of design, walked me through how they work, and it's the opposite of every big tech best practice. 1. Roles are muddy. PM work is spread across designers and engineers. Everyone does what fits their strengths.
Okay, so this really highlights that trend toward AI-human hybrids.
Right.
Cursor, this massive AI coding startup, they're using a code-first design process. They completely bypass traditional tools that, like Figma.
And the goal there is just speed.
It's all about speed. Faster prototyping by spreading that product manager work across the engineering and design teams. The AI handles the grunt work, the triage.
So it's peak efficiency, but what's the cost? I mean, if we start relying on AI for the basics, what happens to our own skills?
Well, that is the perfect segue.
It brings us to a quote that is, honestly, it's pretty wild. This is from @Zibelger.
Okay.
Just read this in an investor update. Older engineers who graduated from college pre-GPT are actually the best suited for our purposes. They have fundamental programming ability that's lost amongst most of the current gen. The AI-induced thinking skills decay has begun. Wild.
Wow. Okay, so let's unpack this because it's a big one. This quote comes from a Founders Fund partner, so this isn't some theoretical idea.
This is an immediate corporate effect.
Exactly. We've seen studies that show junior coders get these huge short-term productivity gains from AI. But the trade-off is this long-term knowledge gap.
The AI-accelerated skill decay.
That's the term.
Yeah.
And it's making these pre-GPT engineers way more valuable for foundational work because they actually built the mental models from scratch.
So it's a paradox. You have AI making jobs obsolete, but at the same time, it's making the people who learned without AI more valuable.
Precisely. For the really critical stuff, you need someone who can spot when the AI is spitting out clever-sounding nonsense. It becomes a quality control problem.
That is a profound tension. Okay, let's shift from corporate structures to human biology.
And Brian Johnson.
He posted this. First, mushroom trip data is out. My brain activity. Dose. 5-gram dried psilocybe cubensis, B+ strain. Psilocybin longevity experiment. What we see in the brain. Plus, brain activity data mirror my subjective experience plus strong decrease in my brains.
And this is where it gets really interesting. That 5-gram dose. That's a lot.
A heroic dose, as they say.
It is. And the data revealed a really strong decrease in prefrontal cortex activity.
Okay, can you explain what that actually means for someone listening? What is an entropic brain pattern?
So think of your prefrontal cortex, the PFC, as the rigid CEO of your brain. It runs your executive functions, your planning. It keeps your instincts in check.
The adult in the room.
The adult in the room, exactly. As we age, it gets overactive, more rigid. When psilocybin quiets it down, the brain switches to these more entropic or, youthful patterns.
So more chaotic.
In a good way.
Yeah.
You get more connectivity between brain regions that don't normally talk. It's a temporary chaos that boosts neuroplasticity, making the brain more flexible.
And that flexibility, that's what he links to longevity.
Yes, that's the theory. The material links these brain states to real health outcomes, like a 35% lower cardiovascular risk, which has been associated with optimism. A less rigid brain handles stress better.
That's fascinating. Okay, so if we're talking about optimizing humans, let's talk about optimizing society, specifically debt. This post from Scott Adams is a take.
Uh-oh.
He says, only robots can save us. A non-robot future would guarantee us a crushing debt and a complete collapse of civilization. But a world of robot-delivered abundance could address the affordability of everything. Healthcare, food, shelter. I'm not even sure if debt would.
I mean, this raises a really important question. He's reacting to the U.S. national debt hitting, $38 trillion in October 2025?
A staggering number.
It is, and his argument is basically that our economic models can't handle it. The only way out is this robot-driven abundance that makes essentials like housing and food nearly free.
It's a very utopian vision.
It is, but it also aligns with IMF forecasts that predict big GDP boosts from AI. The problem is the transition.
Right. What about the people?
Exactly. The World Economic Forum estimated 85 million job displacements by 2025. Adams is focused on the end state of abundance, but he kind of skips over the chaos of getting there. Who owns the robots? What happens to those 85 million people?
A lot of questions there. And to even get to that future, you need just massive infrastructure.
Agree with that.
Speaking of heavy metal, let's talk rockets. Jeff Bezos posted an image of Blue Origin's New Glenn booster on a launch pad in Florida. The post just emphasizes its height, 98 meters tall.
And that height is the message. This signals real progress toward New Glenn's first flight. This is a massive, reusable, heavy-lift rocket.
We're talking 45-ton payloads.
Yes. This is a direct challenge to SpaceX's dominance in the commercial launch market. That picture is a branding exercise. It's saying, we are here and we are huge.
High-stakes branding seems to be a theme today. Let's move to the football world because we have two huge moves.
Okay.
First up from @LDNFootballEye. Chelsea are now close to announcing the new front-of-shirt sponsor, Oracle.
That is a big deal. This is a huge prestige move for Chelsea. You're not just getting cash, you're aligning with Oracle, a nearly $500 billion tech giant.
And that's got to help with transfers in January.
Oh, for sure. It's a statement of financial power and global ambition.
And then there's Real Madrid. This is from @PujaMedia. Real Madrid Stadium is now Bernabeu, as Santiago has been removed from the name.
This is all about streamlining the brand for global money.
70 years with that name.
70 years. Estadio Santiago Bernabeu, honored a club legend. But for global sponsorships, for marketing NFL games or concerts, just Bernabeu is cleaner, stronger, and more universal. It's commerce over history, but it's probably the right business move.
A sharp move. Okay, let's pivot to the cultural feed. Starting with something pretty clever.
I love these.
This is from @Melito177. This invigilator shouted, "Hey Siri," during an exams, and he caught like 5 people with phonosif.
That is brilliant. And also a little terrifying.
The audacity, right?
What's so fascinating is that it's a real-world application of a known tech feature. It just exploits Siri's constant listening function.
Which Apple documents in its privacy reports.
Exactly. But this person turned a convenience feature into a surprisingly effective anti-cheating tool. Just weaponized it on the spot.
Incredible. Okay, from a clever hack to pure nostalgia. This is a post from @Kamayani Tweets, and it's just an image of a teal suitcase next to a man in a hat at an airport. The caption is, "Perry the Platypus, is that you?"
And that's a perfect example of viral culture. I mean, the image itself is nothing.
It's completely unremarkable.
But the visual resemblance to the character from Phineas and Ferb is just, it's subtle, but it's there. And it taps into this huge well of positive nostalgia. It's interactive, it's funny, and that's why it just explodes.
A semi-aquatic secret agent.
Exactly. Classic meme culture.
Okay, finally, let's turn to a post that's, it's tapping into a very serious social issue in Nigeria.
Right.
This is from @RealVickyLouv. I told someone, if I give birth today and for some reason my husband decides he wants to have a DNA test, he gets the test done and finds out the child is not his, best believe I'm going to do another DNA test with my samples also, because the child is definitely not mine.
Yeah, and to understand this, you have to understand the context. This post taps into a really deep-seated fear about institutional trust.
It's being amplified by viral stories, right? Podcast clips about hospital malpractice.
Yes, horrible stories about nurses swapping babies. So what she's saying is, if the paternity test is negative, her first assumption isn't infidelity.
Her first assumption is that the hospital gave her the wrong child.
Precisely. She's suggesting a trio DNA test, mother, father, child, not just to prove paternity, but to verify maternity. It's a safeguard against these malpractice scandals, which connect to the, thousands of child trafficking cases reported in the country.
It just shows a profound erosion of trust in the healthcare system. A heavy note to end on, but a necessary one.
Absolutely. We covered a lot of ground today.
We really did. We saw AI erasing PM roles, Brian Johnson mapping his mushroom trip, and Chelsea swapping sponsors for Oracle.
Yeah. We saw the paradox of AI, right?
Yeah.
It creates these $29 billion companies without traditional roles, but it's also causing a decay of fundamental programming skills.
So, our final thought for you, pulling all those threads together. Given that AI is creating this massive need for efficiency while also accelerating skill decay, how quickly must education evolve to teach those pre-GPT fundamentals to the new generation before that skill gap becomes, unbridgeable?
Ponder that. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.